Hey guys, so for today's video, we are using the new Too Faced Cosmic Crush eyeshadow palette. I created these two looks today using the palette, one more kind of pinky, girly, the other one kind of green, smokier, and intense. At the time I'm filming this, I do not know when this palette will be available. I've checked Too Faced website. It's on the website, but you can't buy it yet. It just says coming soon, so I'm not exactly sure when. I wish they kind of gave more dates, more information about it. But if you want to see how I got both of these eye looks and my thoughts on this palette, go and keep on watching. All right, let's get started with the first look. I'm gonna go in with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. And I'm blending that out with the BK Beauty A506 brush. I think for the first look, I want to use some of these more pinky shades, so let's dive in. I'm going to take a Sigma E25 in this shade called Too Spaced. Okay, that actually looks pretty pigmented, so I'm going to start by tapping this on my outer crease. Oh, okay, Too Faced. This is a lot more pigmented than I expected a Too Faced eyeshadow to be, honestly. Picking up more, I'm gonna add this just kind of to the outer half of my whole eye, really. So outer crease and my outer lid. Just doing a tapping motion to lay this shade down. It's actually a really pretty color. And taking whatever's left on my brush into my inner crease. And I'm doing more of a tapping motion with this because my eyeshadow primer is still tacky. I'm super happy with how that shade applied. Now I just want to blend out these edges a little bit more. So I'm going to take my go-to eyeshadow that matches my skin tone. It is Bare from my palette. And just using that to blend out the edges so I have a nice seamless blend. Now I'm going to take this shade Out of This World, which is just kind of slightly deeper than that first one. And I'm going to see if I can deepen this up a little bit more. Mostly right on the very outer part of my lid. Like I said, I don't use Too Faced palettes very often, so I'm very happy with how this matte shade is applying and blending. Okay, but now we have to try some of these shimmers. I actually have a couple options here. I could do this one, this guy, like I could do almost any of these shimmers really. I'm gonna save the green one for my other look, but I'm gonna swatch these ones up here. Oh, that one did not swatch good. Okay, so I swatched the shimmers. I'm not super impressed really. That top yellowy one is Cosmic Crush, then we have Starlight, and believe it or not, I did swatch a shade right here. I know it looks like there's nothing, but that is the Frost in Space shade. Look at this. I'm like dipping my finger in here. Like that, what? That's so boring. Like that literally looks like nothing. And then that last shade is Ultraviolet. So I'm gonna take Ultraviolet on a Sigma E54. I'm gonna try this shade dry at first. Okay, that's not bad. I am picking up a little bit more to build this up right here on my inner lid. I'm gonna take that E25 I was using and just softly blend around the edges. I really like the color of this shade. It's like a really pretty pinky purple. I'm so confused about that light Frost in Space shade, and I want to try it on my lid to see if anything really shows up. So I'm gonna spray my E54 and I'm going to pick up this shade. Like I'm digging my brush in here, okay? Nothing happened. Oh my gosh, let me dip in again. I'm literally swirling my brush into this shade and it's not even, nothing's coming up. That is so disappointing. I mean, it might be lightening the look a little bit, but it's not, it's not doing anything impressive. Okay, well that's really disappointing because I feel like that type of shade would have been really fun if it worked for this palette. It's kind of a fun, like brightening the lid like I was just trying to do. So that's sad. I'm gonna take a little bit of this brown Superstar shade and I just want to deepen this outer part even more. You guys know I love a good deep outer corner, but I don't want to use that black shade. But I like a good dark brown in a palette. I went ahead and popped on my under eye concealer, and now let's finish up the lower lash line. I'm gonna take the tip of my E54 and back to that 2 Space shade, and I'm gonna run that along my entire lower lash line. It's kind of funny because as I was first applying this shade on my lid, I was very impressed by it. I was like, oh wow, I didn't expect this kind of pigment from a matte shade from Too Faced, and then I applied that shimmery shade and nothing even showed up. So very mixed on this look right now. I do really like this kind of cool toned lavender shade though. Now I'm gonna take a smaller blending brush. This is a Sigma E42 with more of my skin tone blending shade from my palette. I just always have to do this step no matter what. So I'm just softening out the lower lash line. I feel like something weird is happening right out here, so I'm gonna go back to that dark brown Superstar shade on my E42, add that to the outer part of my lower lash line, and try to connect this up right here. Adding a little more of the brown. Not really sure what happened, but that's better, I think. Now I'm gonna take this Cosmic Crush shade on a Sigma E30. I'm gonna pop that in the inner corner. Ooh, see, that one showed up really nicely. Okay, wow. Okay, that shade is a lot more pigmented than I thought it would be. All right, I went ahead and popped on a little black wing liner and my mascara and lashes. And for my lashes, I'm wearing the Bright Lashes and the Half Lash Flutter. All right, let's move on to look number 2. Again, going in with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I know for this look, I'm definitely going to use the green and maybe some more of these kind of deeper gray and black shades. I'm going to start with Interstellar on a Sigma E25, and I'm going to blend that throughout my entire crease. So again, because my primer is a little tacky, I'm kind of doing more of a pressing motion at first. And I'm kind of doing a more of a rounded shape with this look, so I am bringing the shade all the way into my inner crease and outer crease. I'm liking the shade. It's just kind of like a nice cool tone brown. It's just very simple. Okay, but I need to try this green shade, so I'm gonna take it on my E54. Again, I'm gonna try this shade dry at first. It looks a little crumbly, so we'll see how this applies. And I'm gonna go all over the entire eyelid. Okay, so it's pigmented, but it is crumbly. I'm getting some fallout on my cheeks here. This shade reminds me of Faye from my eyeshadow palette, but I feel like this shade has more kind of like glitter in it almost. Definitely has more shine to it. I'm gonna go back to my E25 and blend around the edges of that to soften it out. I'm gonna take some of this black kind of glittery shade on the E54, and I'm just gonna deepen up the outer corner even more. Again, just taking the tip of my E25 and blending around that black. I brought it up a little higher than I would have liked to, but that's okay. I went ahead and did my concealer off camera. Now let's do the lower lash line. I want to try this gray color, so I'm going to take it on a Sigma E30. So I'm just going to blend this across my entire lower lash line. Okay, I can't see what I'm doing. Need a different mirror. I feel like I'm being really sloppy with this look. Wow, this gray is so dark, it's almost looking black. I'm gonna go back to that Interstellar shade. I'm just gonna use that to soften the lower part of my lower lash line so it has a nicer blend to it. I'm gonna take my skin tone colored eyeshadow and just soften this up even more. Just because it got a little sloppy down here, so this is really gonna clean things up. With how dark that gray shade is, it makes me think like were both of these dark shades really necessary in the palette. Now I'm gonna take Moon Glow on my E30, pop that in the inner corner. Ooh, this one's really pigmented too. Here is look number 2 all finished. Again, I just did a little wing and I'm wearing the same lashes, Flutter. Here are both looks completed. Now let's talk about my thoughts on this palette. All right, here's how both eyes look from far away. I know it's kind of crazy looking at me with like 2 different looks on right now, but we're just dealing with this. Now there are also 2 highlighters in this collection. I just kept one of them, the lighter shade, which is called Shooting Star. So I wanted to try this out today on camera as well. Cute little Too Faced compact. It's honestly a little tricky to open. There we go. So this is the Moon Crush Out of This World highlighter, again, Shooting Star. So let's just try this out. I have no highlighter on, just a little glow from my cream products. It's pretty. I like that kind of shade. I mean, I've been using the Rare Beauty highlighters like crazy. Like those are the only highlighters I keep in my everyday drawer. It definitely has kind of a softer sheen to it, which I actually like because sometimes I do want something a bit softer than the Rare Beauty ones. And I do think this color works very well for my skin tone. Now there was also a lip in this collection, but I honestly don't like the lip injection product, so I did not keep it, but I like this highlighter. Not bad. In case you want to know what's on my lips, it is the Lawless Forget the Filler gloss in the shade Juicy Watermelon. This is their newest one and I freaking love it. All right, let's talk about these looks really quick. Okay, let's first look at this pinky look. So I think it's super pretty. I love the way that it turned out. I'm super disappointed in this Frost and Space color. Like it does not show up. And if you're calling the shade Frost, like I expect it to be like glittery, frosty, shiny, and it literally shows up as nothing. So that's super disappointing. I do really like that pink ultraviolet shade all over my lid, and that Cosmic Crush, that kind of yellowy highlight shade, super pretty. I was very impressed by that, and I thought the mattes were pretty good as well. But I wanted to show you a palette I already have in my collection that you could get like the same exact look out of if maybe you're just really drawn to these kind of more purpley, slightly lavender shades, and that is the Sigma Electric Pink eyeshadow palette. Now I think this is the only Sigma on the go palette that I don't have a tutorial with, but look at this pink shade. It is pretty much exactly the same as the ultraviolet shade on my lid. And also in this palette, you kind of get that softer, almost like lavender matte shade, some other good matte shades, a deepening one, a good highlight shade, and also this fun like iridescent shifty color. Oh, like look at how fun that is. So maybe if you were super drawn to the pink in this palette and just wanted this kind of look, this would be the palette to go for. And then for look number 2, where I use the green and the darker shades in the palette, I like the look. I like the green shade. It's funny because when you swatch it and like look at it in the palette, it has a really pretty shift to it. It does shift from like blue to green, but I feel like on the eyes, it doesn't show up with that shift, which is kind of interesting. I'm gonna swatch Faye from my palette because like I said, it looked kind of similar to me, so I just want to see these side by side. So this top one is from the Too Faced palette. This is Faye from my palette. So there's definitely more glitter in this, but like the overall base color of the palette is that really pretty kind of gemstone green. So I'm personally a big fan of this type of color. I do really like the glitter in this. It's very pretty. And while I did like the gray in the palette, I don't think it's necessary to have both a dark gray and a black in the palette because they're gonna show up pretty similarly, sure, because they're gonna show up pretty similar on the eyes. The shades I didn't get to today were more of the neutral ones, just because I figured like you guys want to see the colors, right? Because the 2 colors that pop are the pink and the green. So pink, green look, obviously. I do think the Starlight shade is really pretty. I didn't get to use this one today. Kind of has like a little peachy orange pink shift to it. So do I think you need to go run out and buy this palette? Probably not, but I do gotta say I was very impressed with all of the matte shades I used today. They were pigmented, they blended really easily. I didn't get any patchiness. But as I'm sitting here just looking at my makeup, I do love how the highlighter looks, so this is a recommend. As always, I'm gonna link all the products I used today down below, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh my god, is that YouTube star Angela Bright, creator of the Sigma Angela Bright collab palette? It's an honor.
I've actually never seen a Too Faced palette before. I've only ever seen their mascara.
How do you know about their mascara? Do you know what it's called?
Oh, better than sex?
How do you know that?
Yeah, but I told you, my makeup knowledge skyrocketing since I met you. I know things you would be shocked that I know now.